bureaucracy. We note with pride that the 𝐦𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞𝐭 campaign is present across campuses nationwide, with youth command structures deployed in institutions of higher learning throughout the country. At the same time, the youth command opened criminal cases against individuals selling admissions and preying on disparate families and young people, regardless of political affiliation, status, and connections. This reflects the EFF's uncompromising stance that access to education must never be commodified and that criminals who exploit vulnerability must face the full consequence of the law. The EFF will always uproot such criminality whenever it occurs, including within its own ranks. Revolutionary politics cannot coexist with corruption, and the EFF will never protect wrongdoing in the name of the organizational loyalty. The plenum also reflected on the hands-off Malema protest, which emerged as a powerful expression of popular resistance against political persecution and the abuse of the judiciary to pursue political opponents of the establishment. The ground forces of the EFF and the people of South Africa landed in East London in their masses to stand with us on a case that has been dragged since 2018 to defend the right of revolutionary leaders to speak truth to power without intimidation, selective prosecution, or state-sponsored harassment. The protests, which were echoed in Australia, Europe, and the rest of African continent, demonstrate that the EFF is not an isolated political formation, but a mass movement rooted in communities that are prepared to defend our leadership and our struggle. We take this opportunity to thank all our ground forces and the continent of Africa, the people of the world who supported us during these difficult times. We must not forget our recent victory in the defeat of data and egg time expiry. Our historic victory achieved through sustained parliamentary mobilization. This intervention exposed the exploitation of the poor by telecommunication corporations that profit from unused data while households struggle to afford connectivity. The EFF's success in this battle was affirmed by 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭, who noted that access to communication is a constitutional right, central to modern life, and that working class people should not be robbed through corporate greed. These victories should be recognized as a proof that revolutionary politics, grounded in principle and mass action, can deliver meaningful change even before state power is fully captured. The plenum engaged deeply with the shifting global balance of forces and rapid deterioration of the international political order. The world has entered a period of heightened instability driven by the aggressive conduct of imperial powers and the deepening crisis of global capitalism. The current phase is marked by open coercion, militarization of foreign policy, economic warfare, and the erosion of international law. The United States of America in particular is playing a destabilizing role globally, using its economic and military power to discipline states that pursue independent paths or refuse to submit to imperial interests. We commend South Africa's principled stance in solidarity with the people of Palestine, and its opposition to Israel apartheid practices has exposed the country to external hostility and misinformation campaigns. This pressure is not accidental, but part of a broader attempt to punish countries that challenge imperial dominance. We further commend the declaration of the Israeli diplomat as a persona non grata and call for the president to adhere to the long-standing resolution of Parliament to close the Israeli embassy with immediate effect. The EFF remains firm in its view that the unraveling of the current global order also presents an opportunity for humanity. As all systems fail, there is a space to advance a multipolar world based on equality between nations, respect for sovereignty, and cooperation rather than domination. This brings up the need to strengthen South-to-South relations, reduce dependency on US dollar oppose foreign military bases on African soil, and build independent industrial, technological, and defense capacity across the continent. On the domestic front, the plenum reflected with urgency on the worsening conditions faced by the majority of South Africans. Unemployment, hunger, crime, gender-based violence, and failing public service have become defining features of our daily life, exposing the complete failure of the post-apartheid political elite. Particular attention was paid to the collapse of local government with municipalities, which sit at the cold face of service delivery, being increasingly dysfunctional and captured by unaccountable officials, tender networks, and consultants. Communities are subjected to water shortage, electricity disruption, sewer spills, and collapsing infrastructure, while ordinary people are blamed for failures they did not create. We send our support to the people of Johannesburg, particularly the people of Midrand, who did not have water for the past 3 weeks. The government has got no capacity to deliver the basic service of water to the suburbs of Midrand. We say to the people of Midrand, the people who are governing there in Midrand is the ANC and the DA, and they must both collectively be punished in the next local government elections. Under the EFF government will provide water everywhere, especially in areas like Midrand. The EFF's long-standing critique of National Treasury's fiscal framework was noted, especially the equitable share model, which systematically underfunds municipalities while assuming that the poor, rural and township communities can sustain themselves through revenue collection. This model continues to be irrational, unjust, and central to the collapse of local government. Electricity pricing and energy insecurity continue to be major drivers of poverty and economic hardship, and we continue to reject the false narrative that the electricity crisis has been resolved, noting that load shedding has merely been repackaged as load reduction, with working class communities continuing to bear the brunt of blackouts and rising tariffs. The EFF expresses deep concerns at the growing crisis of hunger, including the tragic loss of life due to starvation and unsafe scholar transport. The death of children from hunger is a national shame and a direct indictment of a state that has abandoned its responsibility to protect the most vulnerable. The EFF has therefore recommitted itself to strengthening community-based interventions through its branches and sub-regions, ensuring that families in distress are identified and supported with dignity without exploitation or humiliation, while calling for safe, state-led scholar transport and the regulation of those entrusted with the lives of children. The rise of violent crime, gangsterism, and drug abuse, particularly in urban centers such as Cape Town, is additionally concerning due to the failure of DA-led administration to protect working-class communities despite their claim of superior governance. The EFF reiterates its position that crime is both a policing failure and a social crisis, poverty and inequality. The organization commits itself to confronting criminality through legislative actions as seen in our motion for an ad hoc committee into the crime in Cape Town, community mobilization, and the establishment of progressive, people-centered safety interventions. The plenum placed significant emphasis on organizational discipline, unity, and preparedness. Delegates reflected honestly on the need to strengthen sub-regional structures, ensure regular branch activity, verify grassroots electoral machinery, and rebuild direct engagement with communities. The EFF reaffirmed that it enters the upcoming local government elections with an intention not merely to participate, but to win and govern. The organization committed itself to contesting municipalities with clear program, capable leadership, and an uncompromising stance against corruption and incompetency. One of the most prevailing recommended resolutions from the plenum is the decision to field EFF mayoral candidate in the upcoming local government elections and in any post-election negotiations scenario that may arise. This is a resolution born out of the reality that the EFF now has the necessary experience and capacity to lead municipalities and rescue them from the decline. On electoral reform, plenum reflected on the fact that South Africa is in a permanent state of elections, which undermines the focus of public representatives to deliver services as they are in constant campaigning mode. This, alongside the high cost of frequent election in the form of by-elections, local government elections, and provincial and national elections, means that our democracy who can afford to contest all these elections consistently. It is on this note that the EFF reiterates its call for one election every 5 years for all spheres of government and to do away with by-elections in order to allow political parties to replace ward councillors in the same way the PR system works. Furthermore, the EFF reaffirmed its long-standing position for automatic voter registration, and this is a process we are already pursuing legislatively through the Electoral Matters Amendment Bill. This bill will allow for automatic voter registration at the age of 16 in order to curb voter suppression which arises out of unnecessary bureaucratic processes. We take this opportunity to reaffirm the position that the EFF will not support the upcoming Gauteng budget, which will be presented in the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, and will subsequently support any motion of no confidence against any ANC mayor or premier. This is due to the disrespectful behavior of the ANC towards the EFF, particularly in Gauteng and in the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan, where the ANC behaves as if they governs alone. The inability of the ANC to accept its decline and work with mutual respect with those they cooperate with will be their downfall, and the EFF will never allow its voters to be undermined at the table of political expediency. On the ongoing Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into Criminality, Political Interference and Corruption in the Criminal Justice System, chaired by retired Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, we note the interim report that was submitted to the President �R𝐸 Ramaphosa in December. While the Commission has recommended that there is prima facie evidence of wrongdoing implicating senior police officials such as Major General Lesetja Senona, Major General Richard Shibiri, and other officials, including officials from Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Municipality, and has referred these matters for investigation. We are deeply concerned that the interim report is not being made public and that some implicated persons have not yet been heard in full before the Commission. This raises serious questions about transparency, accountability, and adherence to the law of natural justice. The EFF reiterates its call for the immediate arrest and investigation of Major General Lesetja Senona and all others implicated, not as a political move, but as a defense of our country and to ensure that no one is above the law, regardless of position. We also call for the full publication of the interim report so that the public can see the case for themselves and engage meaningfully in the fight against corruption and criminality. In more recent matters, it is necessary to note with serious concern the continued erosion of Parliament's authority, particularly following the Speaker of Parliament, Thoko Didiza's refusal to authorize subpoenas for the Brown Mokgotsi and Paul O'Sullivan, despite a formal request by Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating allegations raised by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. This refusal represents a dangerous surrender to intimidation, where individuals who openly display contempt for Parliament are effectively shielded from accountability through unverified claims of security threats. We reject this logic that Parliament as the highest expression of the will of the people, can be held hostage by witnesses who make extraordinary demands for special treatment when current mechanisms of safety have been significantly adequate so far. The EFF remains deeply disturbed that the Speaker chose to prioritize claims of personal risk over constitutional duty to uphold the authority, dignity, and oversight powers of Parliament. Accepting such claim without verified intelligence, formal risk assessment, or security briefings sets a reckless precedent in which any individual, particularly the powerful and well-connected, can evade scrutiny simply by invoking fear. Brown Mokgotsi has previously appeared before formal state processes, including the Madlanga Commission, without any recorded security incident. Additionally, O'Sullivan has himself been the one to send threatening messages to previous witnesses and those testifying in Parliament, and through his own revelation in the media has spoken extensively on these matters with extreme enthusiasm and no displayed fear of retaliation. Therefore, the sudden emergence of alleged threats at the precise moment they are required to account before Parliament raises legitimate questions about the credibility of these claims and the motivations behind them. It becomes evident then that the Speaker's refusal to authorize subpoenas amounts to political protection. We must all remember that O'Sullivan has got a special relationship with the President of the Republic of South Africa. The same goes to Brown Mokgotsi, who claimed to have very close relationship with the suspended Minister of Police. Hence, the protection we are seeing today, because they too will expose those politicians that are involved in wrongdoing. The EFF continues to express concern and disappointment at the continued failure of the Constitutional Court to release judgment in the Phala matter. Despite the case having been fully argued in 2024, the profound public interest it carries, South African constitutional jurisprudence and established court norms required that judgments, particularly in matters of national importance involving the conduct of sitting president, be delivered within 3 months period. This prolonged silence from the apex court therefore undermines public confidence in the judiciary and creates the perception of selective agency when political power is implicated. The EFF delivered a memorandum to the Constitutional Court in November 2025, which outlined how delays in releasing judgments, especially where constitutional accountability is at stake, erode the principle of transparency, equality before the law, and justice without fear or favor. Justice delayed is justice denied, particularly when the matters concern established prima facie evidence of serious misconduct, foreign currency concealment, and violation of constitutional obligations. Internationally, there is a need to reflect deeply on the erosion of human rights, radicalized immigration enforcement, and the dangers posed to millions of people who will seek to attend the FIFA World Cup scheduled for 2026, co-hosted by the United States, Mexico, and Canada. Our movement has consistently denounced the United States government's suspension of immigrant visa processing for at least 75 countries, including several whose teams have qualified for the World Cup, such as Brazil, Colombia, Algeria, Cape Verde, Egypt, Ghana, Haiti, Iran, Cote d'Ivoire, Jordan, Morocco, Senegal, Tunisia, Guatemala, and many other countries. This cruel policy creates a situation where fans, players, coaching staff from these nations, and indeed any ordinary supporter without privileged status face the real risk of visa denial, detention by ICE, deportation, or unsafe conditions simply for wanting to attend a global sporting event. Amnesty and human rights organizations have already raised alarm about the abuses by U.S. immigration authorities that jeopardizes the safety of foreign visitors. In this context, the EFF once again makes a call for a global boycott of the FIFA World Cup in the United States. A sporting boycott is not merely symbolic, but it is rooted in a proud history of struggle. Our own democracy and the liberation of the African continent were profoundly shaped by the sporting and cultural boycotts that rejected apartheid, colonialism, and injustice wherever they prevailed. We are therefore morally compelled to extend this tradition of solidarity to all victims of U.S. aggression and exclusion. The USA's current foreign policy, from threats and military interventions in Venezuela, economic pressure through the blockade on Cuba, geopolitical posturing in Greenland, to destabilize efforts in Colombia and Mexico, reflects a predatory exercise of power driven by violence and exploitation. We condemn the blockade against Cuba, the arrest of democratically elected President Maduro, and all measures that punish nations for asserting their sovereignty. We must not neglect to mention the tragic events unfolding in East Africa, where the 2026 Ugandan general election was marked by a nationwide internet blackout, repression of civil society, violence against opposition supporters, and the suppression of independent media and communication. Just days before the vote, the Uganda Communications Commission ordered the shutdown of internet and mobile service in a brazen attempt to blind citizens to the democratic processes and undermine transparency at the crucial moment when information is needed. Reports from international human rights organizations confirm that these steps violated fundamental rights to access information and free expression, creating information vacuum that shields abuses, delays results, and erode public confidence in the integrity of the elections. It is additionally concerning as this has become a trend in the region, having similarly occurred in the Tanzanian presidential election just late last year. We condemn the violence and intimidation directed against opposition figures, political activists, and voters, and the unaccountable use of security forces to silence dissent. The EFF stands in firm solidarity with the people of Uganda and calls on regional and international bodies to recognize these elections as illegitimate and unacceptable at democratic norms. We call on all ground forces to heed the call that this year we either survive and liberate our people, or we die and prolong their misery, unemployment, landlessness, and poverty. Let us heed the call to the ground and mobilize our people towards building people-centered municipalities with reliable water, electricity, and services. I thank you.
Thank you very much, President. Questions from the members of the media. Which
principle that when you are engaged in a core governance, it means no one rules by himself. You rule by consensus. But if you have a mayor in Ekurhuleni who just wake up one morning and then decide is taking out EFF people out of the responsibilities that we have collectively agreed on without the due process, clearly we are running a shebeen. It's not a political cooperation. And when you do that, you are simply saying you don't care what happens. Because for every political decision, there are political consequences. And therefore the ANC should face these consequences. And in the past, we told them that they must try to learn, they must internalize it, that they are no longer in power. And I gave example that a person who knows how to do that better is the Premier of Gauteng, who is forever in permanent consultation with all the stakeholders. But the rest, and the downfall of the ANC, it will be �𝐼𝐺𝐵𝐿𝐴. The ANC's mess, it doesn't matter if the EFF goes out. Whoever is going to come into power in Ekurhuleni, that 𝐼𝐺𝐵𝐿𝐴 is going to work with them as if he is the winner. He's the one who won the municipality. He has not won anything. Nothing at all. One of the arguments 𝐼𝐺𝐵𝐿𝐴 makes is that why did the EFF remove the best speaker and bring a person we don't like? So a political motivation can be that I don't like you, therefore you cannot be. It can't be a political motivation. It's a personal reason to the extreme. They cannot choose for the EFF who should be a speaker. They said the position of the speaker belongs to the EFF. As to who gets deployed there is a decision of the EFF. It's not a decision of some drunkard. It's a decision of a collective. So we accept that they know the EFF has got capacity to deploy the best. That's why they said we deploy the best speaker and we remove the best speaker. Because we are spoiled of choice, we choose amongst the best. When we are all the best, anyone you pick is the best. Even the one who we're picking now was the best. Is the former MMC of Finance who stabilized the finances of Ekurhuleni and put it in a good shape. We can't say the same today. When they removed him, the finances in Ekurhuleni collapsed. There are people who are more than a year without being paid because of the incompetency of the MMC, of the ANC. No one writes about it. I mean, the most topical things today is about service delivery. When a person doesn't deliver, that should be a headline. So, the MMC of Finance in Ekurhuleni has collapsed that department. The mayor wants to interfere in the administration and wants the people he can bully around. And he knows he can't do that with Dunga. That's why he's prepared to take that risk. But because the provincial structure does not have a hold on him, they can't control him. Factionally, he doesn't belong to their faction. He reports nationally and undermines them. They will have to face the consequences. There is no story here, my guy, where you say, and you want to sound reasonable, that no, this looks like it's more about politics and not about people. What is the difference between politics and people? If I can be educated about that. Politics is people. So when we say we cannot continue to work with people in a cooperative government who are not respecting us and want to take unilateral decisions, it means this is not in the best interest of our people to continue participating in that kind of government. Because every time 𝐼𝐺𝐵𝐿𝐴 makes 𝐶HANYA decisions, mad decisions, we are going to be involved in that mess because we are part of the corporation government. So we pull out so that people can see that we are not part of this mess. We are participating in cooperation with all other parties in the local municipalities because we want something that will work for the people. If it's no longer working for the people, but it works for the individual's interest, it goes around empowering friends, girlfriends and boyfriends, we can't be part of such a mess. So we're not going to be part of such a mess. And unfortunately, the budget of Gauteng and the MEC of Finance, they just find themselves as a part of the collateral damage. There's nothing wrong they've done to us. If anything, I know that the MEC of Finance in Gauteng has been trying by all means to make sure that all of these things work so that we've got a proper government and we can, through Gauteng government, prove that you can govern and govern successfully without white people. But we cannot achieve that if we get undermined and looked down by political illiterate, amateurish individuals with no proper, questionable political credentials. We cannot be permanently engaged with such people. It's a waste of time, where we have to be concentrating on who's going to become what. Will they be removed? Will they not be removed? No. The dislike is too much. I mean, 𝐼𝐸𝐺𝐴 will go and talk to Mbalula, and then he has spoken to provincial leadership. They told him, don't do this. He goes to Mbalula. Mbalula, out of a hatred, he says, no, don't listen to the province. Do as you wish. And he does as he wish, because he's empowered by Mbalula to defy the leadership of the province. So Mbalula has taken it personal to that extent, where anything that has got EFF and you are opposed to it, he supports you without thinking twice. I mean, 𝐼𝐸𝐺𝐴 is supposed to be a runner for Lesotho in Ekurhuleni, ordinarily, because that's how he has emerged. He's always been Panyaza's boy. Now, he defies even his own principal, because he's got a new principal at Lithuli House called Fikile Mbalula. So, and Mbalula doesn't care anyway. He wants the Gauteng government to collapse so that he can say once more, I told you to bring these people into the fold. Was a waste of time because they were not going to support you throughout. You were supposed to bring the DA. So he's using this to demonstrate and prove his point that by the ANC not bringing the DA in the provincial government, they've always run a risk of a failing government. But the ANC of Panyaza, before disbandment and TK, they were running very smooth. There was no problem. They were running a solid machine. It was running. There was no problem. These guys went to disrupt it deliberately because the intention was they fail in Gauteng so that we can be proven right. And then we're no longer going to negotiate with them about the DA. We're going to impose the DA. I don't know what Leboha Maile said. I didn't hear his interview. I will check it after here. But one thing for sure, if the DA is going to vote for their budget and everybody else, good for them. But they will never get our votes. Huh? It's like that boyfriend who says women are like taxis, there are too many, you miss one, you catch one, but you will not have catched me. Huh? You were passed by a proper taxi with a nice sound system and seats and in good condition, low mileage taxi. And then you catch a skorokoro, hamba. You miss one, you catch one, you didn't catch me. I'm talking about me. You can catch the racists to vote for you, I don't care. But you are not getting our vote. Get that to sink. And it is going to be like that for a very long time. Let's see for how long will this racist vote for you without you having to put them in power. I mean, look at how we are being undermined and we have always acted in the interest of the people. Look at how we're being undermined in Gauteng. We are in a cooperative, not Johannesburg. I mean, I'm from Limpopo, so Johannesburg and Gauteng, Baholo is one thing. So when someone says Joburg, it means Gauteng. When he says Gauteng, it's Joburg. So look at Joburg. We are given less powerful MMCs, yet in numbers we are bigger than the PA, and the PA is given strategic positions in Johannesburg. And we said, look, it's not about positions, let's participate, let's go forward and all of that. And then a clown comes and says, no, you guys are not acting in the best interest of the people. With so many numbers. In what is that thing? Of Tshwane. You have a mayor who doesn't have numbers closer to our numbers. Say, man, why? Because we did it for the people. You know, for the sake of this municipality working, let's do it for the people. We've got, who are the MECs here? Is it Bosa? Bosa is an MEC?
Bosa IFP.
Bosa IFP, PA. All of them combined, they don't have numbers more than the EFF. But we don't have a single MEC, but we are voting for a budget that is going to serve PA, Bosa, IFP people. Why do you do that? Politically, how do you justify that? Because we are doing it for the people. But at some point, we are going to have to explain to our constituency, because the accusation is going to be, no, man, there is something you are getting that you are not telling us about. How do we continue to give people support who have no regard for us, who don't see us for anything? So rather be in an opposition and know your place and know you belong there, and that's the end of it, than to pretend like you are part of the power which you are not, and any wrongdoing comes to your table. So that's how we've been treated by the ANC in Gauteng. And for a very long time, this GBV will come to an end at some point. This is the abuse we are not going to accept. Unless someone says, what will it take for you to go into cooperation which include the ANC? The ANC has to show respect to the EFF. You know, comrades, one thing you don't know is that I don't speak to mayors. Some of you think I speak to mayors, I speak to this. I don't speak to these guys. I never asked even to see a single one of them. If you hear there was a discussion between EFF and the ANC or this or that, you must know there was a delegation which never included me. Never, ever. I met 𝐼𝐸𝐾𝐭 once because the Premier had asked that the people of Ekurhuleni must participate in a meeting so that when they leave with one understanding. Who's that MMC of finance? �𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐵𝐻 but I knew the name. So I was meeting Jongwe. He looks different. I was like, what's wrong with this guy? But he's a human being, Shem. Let's just proceed. So I was meeting him for the first time. And that was it. That was that then, and that was, I've never met them again. I don't want anything from them, and so on and so forth. And in the meeting we're discussing exactly what we are discussing here. What I said in the meeting with them, I can repeat it, and think you can discuss something private. It's not private, it's an open thing. That's when we're still trying to find one another in 𝐼𝐶𝐻. We are going to improve our performance drastically in Northwest. The problem is not in Northwest. The problem is in an area called Bojanala, just in Bojanala alone, which means there is a lot of thuggerism amongst the EFF which is taking place there. And we need to nip it on the bud. And if it means releasing some people so that we open the gates, we do so. When you lose vote of such magnitude in a province where it's supposed to be one of your feeder provinces, it means there is a lot of gatekeeping internally happening in the EFF. So you may want to remove everyone in Bojanala and give that region, not a province, a region alone, to Secretary General or run that region. You are going to deliver back our 26,000 votes and get us more votes. Bojanala is ripe. It's not an area where the EFF should be losing votes. But we hope, and the confidence is there that the sub-regions of the EFF, because we have now dissolved regions, we deal with sub-regions, will deliver a proper victory for the EFF. But it's one such region where we're paying a very close attention, and we hope to perform better there. the MK took our votes in KZN. Everywhere else, if you check, it is either IFP historical hostels or IFP dominant areas. But everywhere else where they went for by-elections, I don't know where you get this thing that the MK is growing. You will tell me after this press conference. I need that tip, because everywhere they were, agar we must use science, we must not use our feelings and what was the discussion between my friends before I walked into this room. Everywhere in the by-elections, they're declining. They participated in election in 2024. Any by-election they participated in 2025, they've been declining, and not small, shamefully so. In areas where they got 900 plus votes, they decline and get 200, 300. So it is going to be, I mean, the thing is there are no structures there. And therefore President Zuma will not know all councillors. And therefore it means there must be some process to choose candidates, which President Zuma will not have a hold over it. That thing he was trying to avoid with elections, it's coming now. He's going to have to choose candidates. We will have candidates everywhere. We are not a tribalistic regional organization. Everywhere, including in KZN, including in Nkandla. I'm not sure if MK will have a candidate in 13 in Polokwane, 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐽𝐻. I don't know. Communist Party tried to have a candidate in the by-elections. They got 9 votes. In the whole world, the Communist Party has been existing for so many years and threatening the ANC, and the ANC has been very scared of these people. If they leave, you are going to be in trouble. And they left in my ward, but they got 9 votes. So this thing of elections is not mum pepper up. Victory is not lying somewhere in a corner there where you can buy and give it to people. If that was the case, the DA would have bought this thing long time ago. Victory, you work for it. You can have all types of ranting and complaints and all of that. At the end of the day, numbers should speak. We said to you we are going to picket in Palapala, at the Constitutional Court every month. We went to march when? December. Then January we opened. The first thing we had to organize was East London. And then from East London we had to organize plenum. Now that we have settled, we are now back. Every month there's going to be a protest in Constitutional Court. This month is Johannesburg. Next month, Johannesburg branches of the EFF picketing. Next month is Tshwane, branches of EFF picketing. The other month, Ekurhuleni picketing. The other month, Sedibeng picketing. The other month, West Rand picketing. And then we are done. If it's not released, Durban will come in. The other month, all the metros will be the ones. People are going to drive as far as Cape Town to come and picket at the Constitutional Court, because it's not a regional issue, it's a national issue. They're not holding the president accountable. It's an issue in Cape Town, in as much as an issue in Polokwane, in East London, in everywhere else, all the corners of South Africa. So we are there. The Constitutional Court, which is led by a female for the first time, is showing us this thing for the first time. When we said a woman is leading, things are going to start moving. This is a no-nonsense woman. This woman is the one who was supposed to be Chief Justice before Zondo. And they appointed Zondo because they were scared. They knew how sharp she was, only to be disappointed. by her performance. It is a shame, and it undermines the struggle of women, because we fought for a woman to lead there, and she should, through her actions, be demonstrating to the whole country and the world that by denying women to lead self, those people, when they sit, they always have the odd number. They are never 10, where you can say it's 50-50. It will never be 50-50. I'm reliably told that those people are sharply divided on that matter. And it looks like there will be 2 or 3 minority judgments. The other one is going to say, I agree. If I agree on these reasons, not on the reasons of this one. And the other one will say, I disagree. Even if this one is disagreeing, we are both disagreeing, but on different reasons. That court is in crisis, and you are downplaying that thing. You left it to the EFF, the whole country. Where is the Nelson Mandela Foundation? Where is the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation? Where are all these NGOs and all these political parties? The ANC, we understand, is them who stand to lose if that case goes a different direction. But when the Constitutional Court gets into crisis, it must be a concern of everyone. That is the apex court. Without that court, we are nothing. Even the lower courts won't do anything. This puts the Constitutional Court's credibility in question. And we are taking a legal advice as to, can the lower court compel the Constitutional Court to release the Phala judgment? There must be a recourse. Our Constitution is designed in such a way that even if the Constitutional Court start to act in a madness manner, there should be a recourse. Where is the recourse? It's now more than 13 months since the matter was heard. This can't be normal. And South Africa can't want to continue as if things are normal. When the highest court is unable to pronounce on the law, it takes them a year to pronounce on the law. And we are all saying we are a woke nation. 30 years is too long. We can no longer tolerate nonsense. What? Here is a service of people who are paid. And they are going to be paid for the rest of their life. Even when they retire with those packages, especially the Chief Justice. But can't do their job. They are not doing their job. And you can't say we're undermining judges. Judges are human beings. They too are a subject of the Constitution. They are not a constitution. The Constitutional Court emerges out of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. It's a product of the Republic, of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. And therefore, to act like they are above the Constitution is uncalled for. Everybody should be concerned. The church must be concerned. That the independence of judiciary doesn't mean they must just act willy-nilly. More than a year. Why? They are buying time because they know the ANC is going to a conference in 2027. And Ramaphosa will be out. By the time they release their outcome, it will not have any serious consequences because the man will be gone anyway. But Melayazu Ramaphosa, even if he has retired, impeachment still applies on retired president. Will never get tired. I told you that for as long as the EFF is still alive, Phala will never die because they thought they buried it in that court. We told you it will never end as long as there was a violation of oath of office. Someone is going to be held accountable. Please, self-respecting journalist can ask me about party politics of DA. I've never been to a DA conference. Neither have I been anywhere close to where they held a conference. I don't know where they hold their conferences. I don't know what happens and all of that. From time to time, I get tempted to comment on ANC conferences because I know them. I know where they come from. I know how they work. And when I was in the ANC until they expelled me, and they expelled me for that reason, I had never lost a single conference. So that's how much I was a master. So when I retire, I qualify to be an analyst of ANC and what is this, EFF, because I know them both. So I don't know I don't know the story about John. The last time I checked, they were saying he ate too many burgers and all of that, and Uber drive, Uber eats, and so I don't know if they are removing him for beggars or what. I don't know. So I'm not interested whether he stays eating beggars or he's gone. Israeli embassy must close. Declaring that person persona non grata is a one step in the right direction. We appreciate that. We support that. We fully support that. We were actually jumping. And we were like, can South Africa take such a strong, bold, it was ICJ, then now this one. But the most firm and radical position will be to close that embassy. Whether you are begging, whether you are being nice, whether you do anything, the fact that you have taken Israel to the ICJ, America will never forgive you for that. So you must know, even if Trump goes to jail for those files of Epstein, or if he succeeds, he avoids prison for Epstein files, and then he goes on retirement, you can be rest assured Trump is going to continue this policy of being anti-South Africa. Why? You are going to be punished for the stance you took against Israel. And this local government is going to be sponsored in such a way that any party that doesn't support Israel or pronounced against Israel doesn't get any support. Money is going to be pumped in. We must be ready. One of the people you are telling me about was in Morocco. I mean, when you are in Morocco, it's equal as being in Israel. But there are very strong rumors. I don't know why you as journalists are not checking some of this. There's a strong rumor that President Zuma was in Israel somewhere in December. Have you seen MK t-shirts? You must pay attention to detail. It's not these t-shirts, it's golf shirts. They don't wear t-shirts. And it's mesmerized. It's a proper quality. And then that uniform, you see that uniform? That camouflage. It's very expensive, that thing. Go and check it. Go and check how much that thing is. You are going to be told a nonsensical story that they are buying for themselves. They don't buy t-shirts for members. It's not true, that thing. But no one has ever asked the question, where do they get the money? Why would a president, such an old man, go and watch a match in Morocco at night? Morocco. We know who Morocco is. We know Morocco doesn't speak politics. It speaks money. Can you imagine if I went to watch a game in Morocco? Firstly, some of you don't even know where Morocco is. But if I go there, you are going to start knowing Morocco. The same way you started knowing 408 channel. It was after I arrived in Parliament. You started knowing Parliament has got a channel called 408. So maybe I must go to Morocco so that you can know the continent. From Morocco, I go to Egypt, then you know. because it looks like you wait for me for you to learn the most basic things. Let's learn Morocco. We are open for any dialogue with any people, our comrades, Africans in the diaspora, progressive forces, in the oppressed nations, everywhere else. I think we make it a point, if not weekly but bi-weekly, to have an interface with different countries and different people, progressive people, to encourage one another to continue to push and fight the injustices meted against our people. We've got is it a bill, TG, of cancelling the debt? Yeah, we're in Parliament. We're fighting cancelling of student debt because we know what that thing can do to students. So more than just fighting it at the door of universities, we have taken it to the highest level that it must be law. All those students who are owing, we must cancel their debt. And those who are owing at the universities, our youth command is there for that purpose. To say no one is going to be refused registration on the basis of historical debt. So we can't allow that. That we fight. Of course, when people finish, it becomes unfortunate because they withhold their results. But most of them, since the past 11 years, they were able to register and finish their courses. They might not have their results because of the EFF, which made them to register even when they had historical debt. So we are now fighting a new struggle without abandoning the old one of having access for them. We are now fighting that even when they have historic debt, release their results because they cannot get work if you withhold their results. So that is very, very close to our hearts. You know, at VETS, my son is there. He registered everything. They even gave him modules, everything, without paying a cent. Because I keep on saying, where is the statement? What are the fees and all of that? Then the explanation is, if a parent, if you are registered first year, second year, if your parent earns more than 600,000 per month, you don't have to pay registration fee because they will build that registration fee into the fees. What nonsense is that? The ones of 600,000 are the ones who can afford. They are the ones who should be paying because surely you want money. That's why you do registration fee, to take care of certain things. Use that money of these ones of 600,000 to allow these ones to come into the space while we are still waiting for NSFAS or whatever institution we are waiting for. The contradictions in this life are too much, such that when we stand up against them, you say we are mad. When the other side is completely mad. How does a person who earns 600,000 upwards is not allowed to pay registration? No, he will pay as he goes, anyway he can afford. It's a nonsensical thing that you can't even expose, you can't even write about it. You probably didn't even know about it, that there is this problem. You probably didn't even know about it. But as a doctor of South Africa, heal you. So I must give you these things and make you aware what's happening. Things are tough there. People tell us, no, they take their children to vets and they are rich and therefore they can't lead the struggle of the poor. My child does not read a registration. But I'm at the gates every day of every institution in South Africa sweating to register children of those who can't register. And these ones who speak nonsense that we are rich and therefore can't lead the poor. How many children did they register this year? How many children do they take to school? Do you know how many children do we feed? You heard that magistrate in East London insulting our feeding scheme. And she says from a position of comfort, the innuendos of a racist, at every corner of this court, there is a soup kitchen, insulting our soup kitchen. No one has ever led that evidence before the court. Remember, the court doesn't know everything, doesn't know anything. It's listening to us, we're feeding it, and then it will take a decision. Only the court to tell us that there are 20 soup kitchens outside that court. How does the court know that? When did the court conduct such a research to come and tell us during court that there are 20? She has not conducted such a research. But she speaks from a position of privilege. One, of being white. Two, of being a magistrate. She can't be challenged. No one has ever led that evidence that there are 20 soup kitchens. 700 kids are being fed every day at the soup kitchen I established at Masakane, where I come from. Every day at 3 o'clock. You know what is the story? None of you has ever written about it. None of you has ever visited. You've got social pages in your papers, social programs on TV, and so on and so forth. No one has ever visited that thing. I announce it, I speak about it openly. It's there on my tweet. I pinned it openly. It's a positive thing. That's why you don't visit it. You will never visit anything positive about Malema. 700 kids. She speaks about it like it's nothing. Okay, let's say there are 20 soup kitchens outside that court in East London. Who said those 20 soup kitchens are now enough to feed everybody? We don't need that one of Masakane. So when we tell you about the biasness of the judge, of the magistrate, you all think we are taking chances. I'm giving you this example, where a magistrate just says 20 soup kitchens. And after she said 20 soup kitchens, we can confidently say there are no soup kitchens outside that court. There are no soup kitchens. She said there are soup kitchens outside. There are no soup kitchens. Meaning she lied under oath. And therefore the East London sub-region must open a case against her. She's under oath. She has to tell the truth. How do you lie and say there are 20 soup kitchens outside the court? We have food. We are working. These poor people have taken us to parliament to earn a salary. We can't say because we have food we are eating at home, we must not fight for those who don't eat. Because for us, it's not theoretical. For us, it's practical. We know how it feels not to have food. Our history qualifies us to lead the struggles of our people. Even though we committed class suicide because we have improved our social conditions, but it doesn't mean our consciousness has escaped us. Hence the opening of soup kitchens, 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐞𝐿 campaign, Sofuta Ngekani campaign, 𝐿 campaign. It is your constant interaction with ordinary people on the ground that sharpens your political consciousness. Your consciousness is not sharpened by your history. If you don't constantly interact with the poor on the ground, you will think everybody has got water, including the people of Midrand. And when we ask, why do you say people of Midrand have water? The last time you checked, there was no shortage of water in suburbs. Then you left the masses. You no longer know what's happening on the ground. But if you are constantly interacting with people on the ground, your political consciousness gets to be sharpened. This weekend alone, we're with more than 700 people, 600 and something EFF, plus the staff of Beechwood, interacting with them directly, hearing what these people are experiencing on the ground. And through that, we don't have to be poor. for us to fight for the poor. Joe Slovo didn't have to be black to fight for the liberation of black people. Ronnie Kassaras didn't have to be black for him to fight for the struggles of black people. Helen Suzman, and you can count them, many others, including Carl Neuhaus. They didn't have to be black to fight for the struggle of black people. They had to be politically conscious. So this nonsensical narrative that we hear is being pushed around. Mandela was a lawyer when he went to fight for the black people. 𝐻 Tambo was a lawyer when they went to fight for black people. They went to join a firm of Walter Sisulu, which was dealing with the transfers, conveyancing. But Walter Sisulu didn't have those qualifications, but he was already running a successful conveyancing company, which employed 𝐻 Tambo and Nelson Mandela to go and fight for me and you. Yet they didn't have to, if we follow this logic. That if you are a lawyer, you have an earning, you live better, why do you claim you can fight for people? But they fought for us. We are here because they come from where we were. Their education and their success did not do away with their consciousness. Whereas OR left us here. He couldn't interact with us constantly. Went to exile, went to stay in London. When he came back, one of the biggest rallies was the welcome rally of OR. When he was welcomed back in the country. He was our leader even when he was in London. We never said no one can fight for us if he's in London. That is girlish, that is stupidity, that is laziness, lazy to think, narrow thinking that masquerade as intellectualism. There's nothing intellectual about that. Including envy, by the way. The last one, Mangaung. We're targeting Mangaung, yes. Yes, Mangaung. There's a place I once went to where sewer was spilling in that area for more than a month. And it was this level. And I started even getting inside houses. And the toilets are outside. These people inside the houses will have to get out, walk in the sewer to go to the toilet. Those are daily struggles of the people of Mangaung. If you think a sewer is a joke, you must go and ask the people of Mangaung. They will tell you what they are experiencing on daily basis. So the same as 𝐬𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐻. 𝐬𝐻𝐻𝐿 is too small with such a big factory there called Sasol. Sasol can develop that place alone without government. Why are they not developing it? No one is challenging them there. Everybody has been co-opted. For sure, some of them got tenders to supply small petrol there, this and that, and they think they call that a rival. Sasol alone can develop the whole of 𝐬𝐻𝐻𝐿. So we are just using those two examples as to, those are not that kind of municipalities to lose. Rustenburg is not that kind of municipality to lose. Polokwane is not the kind of municipality to lose. Mahikeng is not the kind of municipality to lose. Mahikeng, which had roads, proper roads built by Bantustan. Today the roads are no longer there. What happened to them? I don't know. I thought these people are eating the money of the government. They are also eating tar road. You can see this one is full of tar road. How do you explain what happened to that tar road? All they needed to do was to maintain it. They destroyed it. The people of 𝐶𝐻𝐻𝐿, they must keep in touch with the people of Midrand and give them tips on how to survive shortage of water. Because there in Polokwane, there's no water. When we grew up in 𝐶𝐻𝐻𝐿, there was water of Bantustan of government. It's not there anymore. There's no water. That's our life. The EFF tried to drill boreholes here and there, but the EFF is just a small party, it's not government. And that we're trying, you don't even see it. Ask the question. Why are you not asking the question, including this analyst, all of them? How many political parties build the houses that we have built? TG. I'm asking that you go and quantify the number of houses we have built since we have formed and how much those houses have costed us, monetary-wise. And then let's issue out a leaflet like that. And then go to any political party to tell you from their own coffers how many houses did they build from their own coffers. Not government RDP houses. Those are not ANC houses. Those are our houses. If they count that, you must count us also in those ones. They are ours as well. So you must count us. On top of that, put our party houses. Then see which party take care of the poor. How many political parties have renovated old age homes, orphanages? How many political parties take children to school from their coffers? We've got a budget dedicated monthly to take children to school. Which political party from its coffers has produced pilots, economists, children who are now well qualified from our own coffers? And you tell us we are rich, we don't care about the poor. You can't even look after the hair of your friend. But you think we don't care. We care. We are a caring organization. So we are there, we are focused. Thanks, Jane. I didn't miss anything.
Thank you, President. We'll now take the second and last round of hands. It will be number 1, it will be number 2, it will be number...
Consideration to play at the highest stage can never be above the interest to life. When many countries boycotted South Africa to participate in the sporting codes and cultural activities, it was because children were dying. And we would have wanted to host and see those things alive, participate and all of that. But we had to consider that life is being lost. Now, there's a problem of visas in that country, where Bafana themselves who want to play at the highest stage, that highest stage can end up being their death site. Because when they see them there loitering without a game, eyes will come here to them. So are you not setting them up for death? Because it's not safe, that place. For anyone to go there, it's not safe. Actually, DP, South Africa should be issuing that letter calling on citizens to come back. What do they call it? We know when we are about to have a protest or something, the embassies issue letters and say, no, citizens must be careful, travel notice. They should be saying, hey, it's not advisable to do what you are trying to do. If you go, but you must know that place is dangerous. That place has become extremely dangerous. And we won't encourage that. We are calling for the boycott of World Cup in America and call on SAFA to join in calling for boycott, and the individual players and the legends must call for the boycott, because it's not only about what is happening in America, it's also about what's happening in Palestine, which is directly, without any sugarcoating, sponsored by America. What is happening in Venezuela, the threats on Greenland, the undermining of international law. Any conscious South African will say, especially those in the space of arts and culture and sports, should be able to say we cannot associate ourselves with this kind of things, rightfully so. You know, my brother, coalition partners, in simple terms, is called married partners. So what happens when you are not happy in your marriage? Huh? Eh? Did you hear what he said? He said you fight. You see, he wants to promote GBV, you must fight each other. Obviously, when you are married, the first step is not to divorce. You try everything like we're trying to explain to you. Our MMC gets removed, we get undermined, we try to move this way and that way. Things get to happen without engaging us. We're being shown a middle finger, and we fight. We're pushing. We're taking your weights for it. We do exactly that. We push. But nothing, actually, as you more worse, they deteriorate. So if it has become so toxic like that, the simplest thing, and for the health of our members and the deployees, is to walk away and let them see to finish. And the founder of the law that governs those things of municipalities anticipated exactly that there will be coalitions, and if coalitions don't find it, parties don't find each other, this thing will collapse, and when it collapses, we go to a rerun. Doesn't mean the municipality is gone. There's no longer a municipality. No. There are options that are there which will be explored to ensure that maybe because citizens have seen what happened, this time around they'll come back with their mind made up and decide to choose a particular party which will govern that municipality. It's not an easy thing. Coalition, and I think Panyaza must go and open a college on coalition and teach these people on how coalitions work. Panyaza doesn't look down on anyone, doesn't undermine anyone. Panyaza is forever available for anyone, in particular the parties that are involved in coalition. Hope, the coordinator of the ANC, Hope Pap, was very hostile towards the EFF. And I think his recommendation to 𝐽𝐻𝐾 was on the basis that this guy doesn't want EFF, so he'll go and do the work for us. But Hope, when he arrived in 𝐽𝐻𝐾 and when he interacted with this coalition politics directly now, he became a completely different person. Like, this thing cannot be done in a way these people are suggesting. This is the way you guys have designed it before we arrived here. This is the way to go about it. There's no any other way to have stability if we're not going to do what I found here. And as a result, try this level best to make sure that the parties consult each other and take each other into confidence as in when a move is about to be made. But they've got a very defiant, disrespectful chairperson of 𝐼𝐾𝐿𝐴 who see them for nothing. But he should know his days are numbered. His days are numbered. He will go and spend more time with those taxi people that we are told he's friends with in 𝐼𝐾𝐿𝐴 more than any other thing. He thinks he's powerful. He will be loitering. Very soon he will be loitering. And he will possibly become a very loyal member of SAB. Because I've seen some of his SAB breweries. I've seen some of his friends behaving, those who came before him, behaving even more mild than what he's doing. And one morning they woke up, they were walking alone. There was no one next to them. He's power drunk. He's suffering from the sins of the incumbency. which is a confirmation that he's not well read. Because if he had read the sins of incumbency, he will not commit the simple mistakes that he's committing, which he will later regret. The ANC must thank Panyaza. This 36% they got, 36 whatever percent, like, what is it, 34? 36. If it was not Panyaza to engage in those illegal activities of hiring Mapanya and lying to people that they must come and take appointment letters at Orlando Stadium, and saying people must send CVs at every civic center, at the last minute, that guy was fighting, doing things out of the box. These ones were heading for 15%, 15, 20%. And then they come and want to undermine a person who rescued them. It's wrong. But they will not see it now. They will see it in the future. And this goes to what you are asking me. Mbalula will not rescue the ANC. But no one of them will rescue the ANC, by the way. No one. Paul will not rescue the ANC. Let's talk candidate. Paul will not rescue the ANC. But at least Paul is approachable, is amenable, until he became deputy president. I don't know what's going to happen if he becomes president. But he was a guy, man. He was a gentleman. He was a person who could talk to, engage, have a nice conversation and find each other. Two things happened to him. I don't know which one got him confused. He became deputy president, then he got married, and then he became something else we didn't know. We don't know. We can't describe it sitting here. What is he thinking now? What does he think? We don't know, really. But from a personal point of view, compared to the power hungry that we see around the ANC, Paul makes a sober candidate. Sober in a sense that if they were to go into a coalition with the progressives, he's the kind of a guy who will be willing to listen and engage other partners. Not that he will make the ANC win elections. They won't win the elections. They're not good. I said to you, where ANC loses, never regains. The ANC lost the metros in 2016. And then from there, it has been going like this. They don't regain. It has been going down. So I don't be threatened by rhetoric that claims they lost elections to 40% now, with Mbalula being the SG. They could not fill up a stadium of 20,000 people with Mbalula being an SG. Now, this year. So how is he going to rescue it? If anything, Northwest is an indicator of what's going to happen. How do you not get 20,000 people? 20. You can even procure 20,000 people. With the money these people have. So it has failed, that thing. Completely out. Patrice Motsepe is a candidate for Cyril. Cyril's people are supporting Patrice. And Patrice's candidate for SG is Ntuli, the chief whip. Mdumseni Ntuli. So I'm bringing Mdumseni Ntuli so that I make your job easy, because I know you can be living here trying to think, what is he talking about now? Mdumseni Ntuli was a candidate for SG for Cyril at the last conference. And Mbalula won against them. He was a candidate against Mbalula. A candidate for Cyril. So Cyril's lineup was Cyril was Oscar Mabuyane as deputy president and Mdumseni Ntuli as SG. Now, Oscar says he wants to come back. He's going to come back on that lineup of Patrice Motsepe as deputy. And Mdumseni Ntuli will be the Secretary General. in, and if they lose this conference in 2027, they are going to form a new party, the Patrice Group. That's what is going to happen. So this coalition, you must just be taking exercises for it. You must be ready. It looks like fragmentation is going to happen for a very long time, and we are going to be having to negotiate with all different kinds of political parties. I think there's a crisis there, but you know, to rely on the IEC actually is suicidal. I think more money now is going into, from the EFF's point of view, into securing an EFF vote. There are facts in the IEC. It's not discrepancy. He's talking nonsense. There are facts in the IEC who work for the ANC, who are from the ANC. So that thing of IEC, it's and that's why they will never agree with election every 5 years. What they did, they created permanent jobs for themselves. Because it's not true that South Africa has got elections every 2 years. No. South Africa has got elections every Wednesday. Because by-elections are held on Wednesdays. It's Wednesday today. I can tell you there is a by-election somewhere. If we live here and you check, there is a by-election somewhere. Every day, every Wednesday, there is election every week. To keep us distracted, to keep us fighting amongst ourselves, to keep us choosing who's going to be a councillor amongst all of us who are unemployed here. And see that one post as employment. That's what they did. So we need, if Cyril was brave, he should be telling us now, guys, I'm extending the term of the current councillors to 2029. And in 2029, we'll hold one election. And after that election is done, we dissolve the IEC. We dissolve it. Any matter that has got to do with anything related to those issues will go to Home Affairs to deal with those things. Then we choose another IEC a year before the elections. Because those people think they're entitled, they are permanently there, they no longer make an effort, they no longer, they are not innovative. Up and now I'm still voting the same way my grandmother was voting in 1994. Same way. Is that box, it has got a pen, that pen is held by a wool. Is it a wool or something? A string is held by a string. My grandmother voted like that in 1994. And then you have to be behind the box like this. And then when they say the voting is closed, they can't tell us how many people have voted. Which means they were not electrically being captured as casting votes. Casting votes. As you cast votes, there must be a machine that says, once the first voter goes in, the machine on the big screen must say 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, like that, like that, like. It has to be automatic. It is, you know, when you enter FNB, those gates record how many people entered FNB. As you go in, those gates count. So there at the IEC, when you enter the gate, when you're about to enter the door, not at the IEC, at the voting station, when you're about to enter a door, there is a man here. It's never a woman. It's a man. Who's holding a gadget this size? Pass. What does he do, this one? We don't know. At least after we pass him, we still go the same way my grandmother went. There's a book here, yes? ID. Malema. Yeah, sure. What is that one doing with that thing at the door there? What is he doing there at the door with that thing? Why can't they bring electronic things and put them there and then just check my ID number? Yes, bring here. They check. They give it to him. Pass this side. So once my IG get logged in, it reports to the center that passed. So many people have passed. We wait not to get the results, to get how many people voted. So you say IEC undermines suspects about discrimination. Doesn't undermine EFF. It has got no capacity to modify and innovate and live in the era we live in. They don't have capacity. So why can't the IEC make their website free for people who want to check if their names are there? Meaning, if I have data or I don't have data, I must be able to access the IEC website. Make things smooth and user-friendly, because that's what discourages the youth of South Africa. They don't have data. It just got expired as I'm about to capture my ID number. Make life easy for the youth if you want to attract the youth to come and vote. They don't do that. Their technology is so advanced, so extremely advanced. But you take Buma Gogo, unale mutu mola riki machine uzalon. Machine. Akatsuba computer na wanula. Machine. Udobana ka bike uruwa na ka setibe computer. Computer gira IT. Or yes. Why are we not capturing results at the center? Because if the thing you are using there at the capturing center, we can decentralize it and put it at the voting station. When you are done, you just swipe the result slip. Cling! It report to the center. And then the work of the center there, that system, its job, every time EFF numbers come in, it allocates. ANC allocates. Then what must make us stop? It must be on the board there. We must have unverified results. Then you can bring in those auditors and all of that, people who know the IT system to check if there was no tampering, and they give it a thumbs up. You now say this is now official results. Why are you scared to do that? You know you do that, the ANC will be out of power in less than a second. It will be out completely. They don't do it because they are protecting the status quo, which operates and wins through thuggery, stealing. So this election, more than anything, we're investing in ensuring that every vote of the EFF is accounted for. If we look at EFF people there and we doubt if they've got the capacity to engage a presiding officer, we'll rather employ people outside the EFF who come for a purpose of employment and monitor EFF results. We'd rather go and look for people who worked for IEC before in that village and all of that, and then bring them in to come and secure an EFF vote. The EFF vote, I can tell you without thinking twice, is stolen. It gets stolen. They stole it in my VD after I waited for 4 hours with my wife on a queue. They didn't have a sympathy. When I left, EFF won the vote. They stole that thing. They don't say, we waited for 4 hours. Even after I waited for 4 hours, they still steal my votes. That's how much. If they can steal from me, my voting station, imagine in 𝐮𝐸𝐻𝐻𝐿 in a village in 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐿. Yeah, it will be worse. Every EFF vote will be counted ANC. And then there is no party agent there. You say, no, we've lost, guys, let's accept. Even if we don't accept, all right, there's nothing we can do because we didn't have a party agent there who can produce material evidence to back up our case. Because we can't just talk. So this time around, we want people who are going to say, no, here's the receipt. This morning we had a meeting with the IT company, which was saying we need to produce an app that is going to be downloaded in each and every party agent. On the day of election, that voter, we must know where that voter is. So that app must be able to report to the operation center when the voter moves. When the party agent moves away from the certain radius of the voting station, it must ring on the thing here, operation center. And then you must receive a call from operation center of the EFF. We are happy manje. Seulambile or wenzan. Once he realizes I can be seen, they go back. So that's the only way we can secure these elections. We are speaking to the current ruling party in Botswana. They applied that thing of securing the vote because that party that lost has been stealing from them for long. And this year, the previous elections, when they applied the strategy that we're talking about with them, the party lost dismally. Moidra is an EFF project, Shemai. Self-promotion won't work. And they won't stop anyone from forming a party. People form a party and then cry for toilets. I don't know why they're not crying for water. They cry for toilet, toilet this, toilet politics. So I don't know what will those ones who are forming a party in Metsima will complain about. People are complaining about skit lines, skit line politics. So there's nothing we can do. Let them form. You will realize when you are in there, forming a party is not mamam pepapa. It's very difficult. It's still very, very difficult for us 11 years into this thing. It's still very difficult. Try it, you will see. That's why toilet becomes a topic permanently, because toilet is easy to speak about it. But politics and forming a party, shame. Why would you decide my political line is toilet? Toilet politics. Let them form parties. Let them form. Now from here, we are not forming parties. We are going home. Going home. We would have tried our level best. From there, we are going to look after cows. We've got cows. Going to look after cows. That's why you'll talk about toilet. You don't even have a 𝐦𝐿𝐵𝐿 or it's on 𝐦𝐿𝐵𝐿. Huh? What is small dog? A puppy. You don't have a puppy. Puppy. Why party? I get a puppy. At least I get a puppy and train to look after something. Then you'll know how to look after a party. So they can say whatever they want to say. April is in a conversation with SG. So we'll be briefed as the time goes on as to what really happens. But it didn't form Moidra. Huh? I'm not even interested whether they call it Malemaville or what. I'm not interested. You can't blackmail me because you say a place is named after me. I think my name is way bigger than me. It has gone beyond me, so I can't be bribed with naming occupied land after me. No, it's an EFF project. When they were taken to court, it was the EFF which took lawyers here, took to court. It was cited as a first respondent, EFF. They never cited anyone's mother or father as a first respondent, to show it's not a family project. Including my mother in her grave, he never received summons. Or this is what your child did. No, EFF received summons. EFF went to win Moidrai in court. EFF went to line up those people, re-gravelled the roads, and then did terminal poles teaching. Were you there? Both of you are here. The boreholes, 8 boreholes, 8 boreholes. So because it's your family fatherly farm, why not drilling boreholes yourself? So you can in future claim, this is mine. Why do you allow EFF to do all of this? You founded a place. You can see, and I'll agree with you that the sign of forming a party are there, where you now start attaching organizational achievements into personal glorification. You are preparing your exit. You are preparing your exit. School transport, government must provide transport, not these buggies. Government must provide school transport with well-trained people. What that guy did, is it Sharpeville? In Val. It was extremely reckless. Reckless, childish reckless. We are happy that the truck had a camera to really show us what happened. You don't do that when you are carrying so many lives in your car. You don't do that, even if it's you alone. You don't do that. So, one, government must provide transport. Government must hire people who are trained and will be subjected to continuous training, like we do with ambulances. We have ambulances, we've got paramedics, we've got drivers of ambulances. So what's the problem? We must do that with schools, we must do that with transport. Because there, you are carrying the future of South Africa when we can't allow to play with it. 2, it must be compulsory, and this must go to the new cars that are coming. Every car must be fitted with a dash cam. Dash cam that can show both inside and outside. We need government to pass a law that says dash cam must be installed in these cars. When a car is roadworthy, amongst other things, should mean a dash cam is functioning. It's in order. Because our people are dying on these roads. It is unacceptable. So they are going to argue privacy and all that. It's not true. The dash cam belongs to you. No one is going to see it. Only when there is a problem can we ask to see. Only that part where we want to see of an accident. Can we really have this so we can be able to examine this crime scene? So there's so much we can do to secure life. So much. So much. And the parents also must play a role. You must make sure your child gets into a proper car. You must get out and see the car. You must say, hey, Pele Lich, we're not team. You must accompany the child to a car, to look at the car and to look at the driver. We'll see you. If you are drunk, we don't have to brutalize you. We'll see you. This one, all of a sudden he can't pronounce L. You can leave, Papa. Mine is no longer coming into that thing. Then report the person straight away that the driver doesn't look sober. It's our children. Who don't play with the life of your child. It's our children. All of us, even when we assign our children to drivers, when they go to the car, a loving, caring mother never stops at the door. She goes all the way into the car, make sure they're in the car, and wave at them as they go. Because she's satisfied or no, everything looks proper here. So please, we need dash cams in the cars. We need dash cams in the taxis, in the buses, in the trucks. We need to secure the life of South Africans, not only for accident, for crime. Crime. Look at that young boy who was hijacking was it Uber? Uber in Western Cape? Yeah. Because he's just a toddler, doesn't know what he's doing. He just came in and sat down and just looked at into the camera as if he's taking an ID book, a photo. The fool just looked at the Shem Bijana, small, arrested. Were held by a camera. And all of us, those who can afford, all of us who can afford, this is a call for all, while we are still waiting for government to come up with initiatives to secure our cars. Those who can afford, let's go and install the dash cams in our cars. 2, let's install cameras in our yards, in our streets, as a way of monitoring streets so that we don't succumb to drunkards and criminals that have taken over the streets. You can do so much. You don't have to do a camera that can take the whole street. Only this portion, because we don't know if crime is not going to happen at this portion. Let those who can afford install cameras in the cars, in the yards, outside their yards, to secure South Africa. Because the government has given up on us. These are the things that you are most likely to see when the EFF takes over. The last point I want to make, which I don't know, the youth command cases we're unable to give you now. I think you can talk to them. They will be able to tell you how far are the cases. You know, 𝐼𝐻𝐾𝐭 once did a campaign here of African hair. Was it 𝐼𝐻𝐾𝐭?
Clicks.
Huh? Clicks. Clicks, yeah. There's no, to me, there's no difference. Same. Clicks did a nonsensical advert. When you say EFF did not do anything for you, we stopped that advert. And after we stopped it, we didn't stop there. We said they must give poor communities sanitary pads. There were 2 things, sanitary pads and something, I can't remember, which they did. And we said to them, you must have, I can't remember the percentage now, a certain percentage in your shops of product produced by black people. They agreed. So you can ask yourself how many small businesses benefited from the action of the EFF, which we'll never talk about. Someone independently must just say to Clicks, after the EFF, before the EFF protest, how many black products did you have on your shelves? After the EFF protest, which said put the black products on your shelves, how many do you have? We need that report, SG. We need to claim that victory. They can't speak for us. We must speak for ourselves. Because they've made it their business to distort who we are. That we are not helping South Africans. I spoke about the poor earlier. I'm speaking about business now, small business that is now in the shelves. And other shops did exactly what we told these cliques to do because they were worried were coming to them. Just yesterday, I was watching a man who's producing an olive oil. A first black man to own an olive oil is now on the shelves of Woolworths. It's called virgin olive oil. We need to get that virgin olive oil. It's black owned. Black owned. It's not only in Woolworths. It's also in another one of these big stores. Just from one campaign, we can tell you so many black people, emerging black business was empowered by the EFF itself through its actions. So we have a duty because we achieve, because we don't do it for glorification, we do it genuinely. We do, and then once we are done, we move to the next projects. And then people come and insult us. What have they done, these ones? What have they done? So each and every MMC is going to have to submit a report of what, not theory, line up one by one. What have they achieved since they became MMCs of the EFF? What did you do? Mgeni, is there any single building you have reclaimed? Because the biggest complaint is that buildings are being hijacked, which means your focus must be there. Is there any building that you have claimed? Specifically. Now, we're starting with MMCs. Between now and March, we need that specific, not as enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic and reflected in the Bill of Rights. No, that one you will discuss with your friends at 𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿. Not here. They're again? Kitcheners. Not here. Kitcheners. Yeah. What have you done since your MMC? 1, 2, 3, 4. Why? We need things that we can verify and touch with our hands so that we can communicate them ourselves. We want to communicate them ourselves because the media will not communicate it. As long as it's from EFF, as long as it's got Malema, who we want to send to jail for non-existing issue, we must never report positive about it. So the EFF must communicate strongly about the achievements, because when I looked at that virgin olive oil yesterday, I was like, but you know, after Click's campaign, so many things were achieved and so many things were not communicated. So we need, as part of our campaign, we need products of black people on the shelves. We don't want to be only consumers. We want to be suppliers. So every EFF at every sub-region, at every province, if you are bored, just make a 10 at a particular chain store and ask them how many black products are on your shelves. Ask them. We need to challenge the status quo, practically, not theoretically. Who's that boy of sneakers? 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐿𝐿. We allowed 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐿 to disappear. We allowed them to use 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐿 to demonstrate to us that blacks can't make it. We must refuse that. Instead of 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐿 opening shops of sneakers, they should have provided chefs for 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐿 in all their shops. The same goes to, there's another one of doing Batu. They should have done that. There are so many of our kids who are now our brothers are producing eggs. Those chickens that lay eggs are very expensive. To do that chicken run, it's very expensive. Our brothers go all out to kill themselves, get into debt. A simple thing as egg, they can't give them shelves. When they give them shelves because they are scared of the EFF, when they leave, they take those eggs of theirs, they put them at the back and say, come, they have expired, these things of yours, because they can't stay for long. It's not because we don't want to work the land. We are working the land. The shelves are owned by people who are hostile to black people. Let there be a campaign that every shop, for it to thrive, the manager must be in a position to give an account of how many black people's products do you have. And after they tell you this is, you must ask them, where are they producing this thing? I want to visit that factory so that we can see if other people are fronting for whites or not. We must be deliberate about black empowerment. We must be deliberate about reducing unemployment. We must be deliberate about fighting poverty. How do we do that? We need to fight for space for young people everywhere where a space can be found. The space is there. Let's use our power. We used it with the cliques. Cliques thought it was more powerful than the power of the people. No one can defeat the power of the masses. So the masses are awaiting there. They are waiting for the leadership. Let's go and not wait for this government. Let's go. Let's go and make sure that we fight for our people to get a space in the shelves, in the minds. It must not be that my soul, we don't even know how he accumulated my soul. Whether it's zamazama or it's illegal mining, we don't know. My soul self, food. Is even paraded in the stages of criminals. Why should we have one? We must have multiple of them. Not through zamazama, through legal means. There must never be a business activity anywhere in South Africa without the local leadership of the EFF taking that business head on. How many of our locals are in here? There's no way there's something we can't do there. Cleaning, collecting rubble, this or that. If it's so sophisticated, whatever. Let the people be empowered. Let there be fight on the ground for people fighting to be empowered. We cannot be scared of less than 1,000 men who are owning the economy of South Africa if we include small businesses of white people. Out of 65 million, we all are standing helpless. We need to fight for empowerment of our people. There's nothing wrong to go in and say, just tell us, how many of the locals have you empowered in this? How many blacks have you empowered in this? Where's your procurement officer CEO? Bring them here. Let's discuss this. Why? It's bread and butter. The issue of unemployment, we can no longer downplay it. Everybody must tell us, how many have we employed? How many have we empowered? If we kill that, we'll kill poverty, which is becoming a killer in South Africa. We must be ashamed that there's a province called Eastern Cape, where the premier of a province that is killing children through poverty wants to become a deputy president. He's tired of killing them provincially. He wants them national now. He wants to slaughter them national through poverty. Children are dying in Eastern Cape from hunger. How did we reach here? from hunger. So let everybody take it upon themselves, or it's not going to happen. No child is going to die in this community of mine because of hunger. This business, this government, this municipality must know about this family and tell us what are they going to do to change the situation of this family so that we stop one death. One death of a child from hunger is one but too many. It stops this year. Not for elections. For South Africans who are saying, we've had enough. We have had enough, and no America is going to dictate to us. We are going to empower our people. Even under black empowerment, we are still suffering. Imagine if there is no black empowerment. It will be worse. That's why we will fight any case that seeks to eradicate black empowerment policy. That's why we'll fight any case in court that is trying to remove the Land Expropriation Act. That's why we'll fight anything that wants to remove Bella Act. We will never allow anything that seeks to reverse the gains of 1994. Not now. So few gains, yet people are determined to reverse them. Reverse them to what? They want to put us in a much more worse situation than we are in now. Leave the ANC, it's led by clowns. They can fight their own battles. We ought to focus on the enemy and say, we've got our resources here and these resources are going to benefit the people of South Africa. The time is now. There's no any other time where everybody will be listening. Why? Because we are going to elections. When we don't go to elections, these people don't listen. So we must use the election year, every election year, to make them what they were supposed to do in the past 5 years. Let's demand everything at every corner. We want this, here we want that. You will see all these opportunists are going to start acting because they want votes. So let South Africa take advantage and say, we are going to use this year to empower our people. For the EFF is victory or death. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President and the officials. That brings the EFF press conference to a close.